Hello class 7 students, welcome back to the Science Digital class. Today we are going to start chapter 4 of your science textbook, which is physical and chemical change. Let's have a chapter at a glance. Reversible and irreversible changes, chemical change, crystallization, physical change, rusting of iron. Engage. You have learnt about reversible and irreversible changes in the previous class. Now identify the following changes as reversible और irreversible changes. इन पिक्चर्स में जो चेंजेस दिख रहे हैं वो irreversible है या irreversible आपको पता लगाना है. We see different types of changes every day in our surrounding. Changes may be temporary or permanent, reversible or irreversible, physical or chemical, desirable or undesirable, and slow or fast. All types of changes have one thing in common. These changes may involve one or more substances. These substances can be made of different materials such as plastic, rubber, metal, wood, or glass. In the language of chemistry, all these materials are called chemical substances. These changes become noticeable due to one or more of the following changes: position, shape and size, color, physical state, temperature, composition, structure. Based on the characteristics, the changes can also be classified into physical and chemical changes. Before we describe these changes, recollect about the reversible and irreversible changes you learned in your previous class. Reversible and irreversible changes. The change which can be reversed by reversing the condition is called a reversible change. Some reversible changes are conversion of ice into water by heating and that of water to ice on cooling, glowing of an electric bulb, stretching of a rubber band, plowing a field. The change which cannot be reversed even by changing the conditions is called an irreversible change. Burning of paper or wood. Paper or wood, when burnt, gives out smoke. We cannot obtain paper back from the ash and the smoke. Aging of living beings. We cannot make an old man a child by any method. In this image, you can see a burning of paper, irreversible change, aging of human beings, and irreversible change. Changing of milk into curd. We cannot get milk back from curd. Growth of plants. A tree cannot be reversed back into a plant. Rusting of iron. We cannot get back iron from rust by a simple process. Now let's see what is physical change. The properties such as shape, size, color and state of a substance are called physical properties. A change in which only the physical properties of any substance gets changed and no new substance is formed is called a physical change. तो ऐसा change जिसमें किसी भी सब्सटेंस की फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज में जैसे कि शेप, साइज, कलर जैसी चीजों में चेंज होता है उसे फिजिकल चेंज कहते हैं. एग्जांपल्स ऑफ फिजिकल चेंजेस आर स्ट्रेचिंग ऑफ अ रबर बैंड, grinding of a substance, expansion or contraction of substance on heating and cooling, melting of wax, formation of clouds. In this image, you can see a stretching of rubber band, grinding of a substance, melting of a wax, formation of clouds. Magnetization of an iron piece, hammering of metal to form thin sheets like hammering aluminium metal to form aluminium foil, stretching metals to form wires like hammering copper metals to obtain copper wires, melting of solid on heating and freezing of a liquid on cooling, change of chalk stick into chalk powder. कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ फिजिकल चेंज. अब हमें कैसे पता चलेगा कि कोई फिजिकल चेंज हुआ है, उसके क्या क्या कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स होते हैं. द चेंज इज रिवर्सिबल एंड टेम्पररी. नो न्यू सब्सटेंस इज फॉर्म्ड. No loss or gain of energy takes place during a physical change. No change in mass occurs during a physical change. Some typical physical changes. Some common typical physical changes are described below. Dissolution of a solid in a liquid is a physical change. Sugar is sweet. It dissolves in water easily. A solution of sugar also tastes sweet. Sugar on dissolution does not lose its basic properties. In this image, you can see a sugar is dissolved in a small quantity of water. By stirring, clear solution is obtained. Solution of sugar, when concentrated by heating and cooled, gives back the crystals of sugar. These crystals also taste sweet. Thus, sugar, the original substance, is recovered back from a solution by a simple method. During dissolution, sugar has not lost its sweetness. It is recovered from its solution by crystallization. Therefore, the dissolution of sugar in water is a physical change. You can see in pictures the solution of a sugar is heated slowly in a china dish to concentrate it. The concentrated solution, when cooled, gives back the crystals of sugar. Evaporation or vaporization of water or any liquid is a physical change. When water is heated to boiling, it gets converted into vapor. The vapor so formed when condensed, cooled, gives back liquid water. The condensed water has all the properties of the original water, so the vaporization of water of any other liquid is a physical change. The slow conversion of a liquid into its vapor is called evaporation. Evaporation takes place at all temperatures. At room temperature, it is slow. Evaporation is faster at higher temperature. When a liquid is converted into its vapor at its boiling point, the process is called vaporization. Thus, evaporation and vaporization are similar processes. Evaporation depends upon temperature of the surrounding, surface area of the liquid, wind speed at a place, melting of a solid, and freezing of a liquid are physical changes. When a solid substance is heated, it gets changed into its liquid form. When a liquid is cooled, it gets changed into its solid form. Solid gives heat, liquid cools down, solid. During any change of state, the composition of state remains unchanged. There is no change in the chemical properties of the substances. The change can be easily reversed by changing temperature. Thus, melting of a solid and freezing of a liquid are physical changes. Sublimation is a physical change. During sublimation, a solid substance, when heated, changes directly into vapor form, and vapor on cooling gives back the substance in solid form. During the change of state, there is no change into the composition and chemical properties of the substance. The change can be easily reversed by changing temperature. Therefore, sublimation is a physical change. तो हमने देखा कि फिजिकल चेंजेस वो चेंजेस होते हैं जिसके चेंज होने से सिर्फ फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज में चेंज आता है, सब्सटेंस की केमिकल प्रॉपर्टीज में कोई चेंज नहीं आता. जनरली फिजिकल चेंजेस टेम्पररी होते हैं, परमानेंट नहीं होते, और जनरली फिजिकल चेंजेस रिवर्सिबल भी होते हैं. तो उसकी वजह से हम उस सब्सटेंस को वापस उसी फॉर्म में किसी और प्रोसेस के थ्रू चेंज कर सकते हैं. नाउ लेट्स सी केमिकल चेंज क्या होते हैं. A change in which composition and chemical properties of a substance get changed and one or more new substances are formed is called a chemical change. Examples of a chemical change. तो ऐसे substances जिनको change करने से उसकी chemical properties change होती हैं, यानी कि वो substance ही पूरा किसी और form में बदल जाए, और changes अगर irreversible हो तो वो chemical changes होते हैं. उनके कुछ examples हैं: rusting of iron, burning of candle, digestion of food, decomposition of food, curding of milk, ripening of fruit, change in color of an apple or a brinjal cut into halves, acid-base neutralization reaction, drying of paint, clotting of blood, photosynthesis. Characteristics of chemical changes. During a chemical change, one or more new substances are formed. तो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स में सबसे फर्स्ट कैरेक्टरिस्टिक है कि केमिकल चेंज के दौरान एक या एक से ज्यादा नए प्रोडक्ट्स बनते हैं. In this example, in these images, you can see rusting of iron, burning of candle, and ripening of fruit. Drying of paint, curding of milk. So, rusting of iron is a chemical change. Why is the burning of a candle considered a chemical change? Let's see. Candles are made from wax and a cotton thread called wick of a candle. During burning of a candle, the molten wax, melting of wax is a physical process, rises through the cotton thread and undergoes combustion to produce carbon dioxide and water vapor. The cotton thread gets charged to a black mass. Heat and light are given out in this process. It is not possible to recover the burnt wax, to recover the thread in the original form from the charred thread. Therefore, burning of candle is a chemical change. Let's see now why the cooking of food is considered a chemical change. Food के cook होने को हम chemical change क्यों कहते हैं? During cooking, many chemical reactions takes place within the food material. The taste and the chemical structure are also changed. It is not possible to get back the raw food or flour from the cooked food. Therefore, cooking of food is a chemical change. Why is the curding of milk considered a chemical change? During the conversion of milk into curd, many reactions involving proteins, organic acids and fat take place. Knowledge basket. Tawa, khurpi, kuda when left in moist air gets rusted. Rusting of iron. Iron objects like iron nails, iron pipes, iron grills, iron railing when kept in moist air for a few days get covered with brown powdery substance called rust. This process is called rusting of iron. The two conditions necessary for the rusting of iron are presence of oxygen, of air, presence of water or water vapor, moisture. During the rusting of iron, iron metal combines with the oxygen of air in the presence of water or moisture to form a mixture of iron oxide and iron hydroxide. This mixture of iron oxide and iron hydroxide is called rust. The process of rusting can be represented by the following equation. Methods to prevent rusting. Rusting can be avoided by preventing the iron surface from getting exposed to air, oxygen and water. Given below are few methods by which we can prevent metal objects from rusting. Painting. Painting is the metal surface that prevents it from coming in direct contact with the moisture and oxygen present in the atmosphere, thus preventing it from rusting. Applying oil. Water and oil do not mix. Applying oil on the metal surface prevents water from reaching the surface, thus rusting does not occur. Galvanization. It is the deposition of a layer of zinc on an object. Zinc forms a layer of zinc oxide on its reaction with oxygen. This layer acts as a barrier between iron and atmosphere. Alloying. A solid solution of two or more metals or a metal and a non-metal is called an alloy. What are the most of the utensils and a kitchen sink made up of? Steel is an alloy of iron and carbon when mixed with other metals like chromium, nickel, molybdenum and titanium. It becomes stainless steel. The presence of these metals prevent rusting. Crystallization. Seawater contains large amount of dissolved salt. Since the concentration of these salts is very high, the seawater can simply be evaporated to produce crystals of sodium chloride as common salt. The process of obtaining large crystals of pure substance from a concentrated solution is known as crystallization. Difference between physical and chemical changes. Parameters. New substance. Physical change, no new substance is formed. Chemical change, one or more new substances are formed. Nature of change. Physical change, it is a temporary change. Chemical change, it is a permanent change. Reversibility, only the physical properties of the substance get changed. Both the physical and chemical properties of substances are changed. Physical and chemical properties. Physical change, it is easily reversible by simple physical methods. Chemical change, it is irreversible. Amount of energy in the form of heat, light, etc. Physical change, very little energy is absorbed, given out, is absorbed or given out. Chemical change, a very large amount of energy is absorbed or given out. Thus, method of crystallization separates a pure solid in the form of its crystals from a solution. Crystallization technique is better than simple evaporation technique, as during evaporation process, some solids may decompose and some like sugar may get changed when solution is heated to dryness. Some of the impurities are so small that they may remain dissolved in the solution even after filtration. On evaporation, these contaminate the solid. Iron plus oxygen plus water changes into iron plus iron oxide hydroxide. Amorphous substances. Those substances which are powdery and possess no definite geometrical shape are known as amorphous substances. Example, talcum powder. Crystalline substances. Those substances which are hard and possesses definite geometrical shapes are known as crystalline substances. Example, sodium chloride crystals, crystals of copper sulfate. Tech Talk. Flow chemistry. Flow chemistry processes eventually minimize the risking of handling hazardous substances and increase productivity, both preventing harm and lowering the environment impact. Moral learned. Chemicals help us to understand the world around us, and basic knowledge of it helps us to read and understand product labels. It also helps us to take informed decisions. It teaches us useful skills because learning chemistry means learning how to be objective and how to reason and solve problems. Recapitulation. The change which can be reversed by reversing the conditions is called reversible change. The change which cannot be reversed even by changing the condition is called irreversible change. The slow conversion of a liquid into its vapor is called evaporation. Rusting can be avoided by preventing the iron surface from getting exposed to air and water.